Welcome back one and all to your yearly dose of me doing weird things no one in their right mind would do. This video has a bit of a story behind it. If you don't care for the story, go to this timestamp for the challenge setup, and if you don't care for the setup and just want to see me suffer, go here. This video was originally supposed to be about beating the game with 0 in every stat, relying exclusively on jewelry to juggle what I can do at any particular moment. The run turned out to be rather boring, however. After procuring a few plus 10 rings and amulets, it turned into a normal run with more inventory opening, and after getting plus 15 and plus 20 jewelry, I basically turned into a bootleg mage. The only notable things that I did were duplicate scrolls, mana restoring items and powerful rings by first picking them up as mud, and then doing the whole rigmarole on his unconscious body, rather than that of a more competent merchant. I also started getting a taste for using the shrink scroll on creatures other than trolls and shadow beasts, as I duplicated myself a surplus of them. Then suddenly, near the very end of the run, a peculiarity. While throwing firebolt at a demon lord, I switched to a shrink spell, in anticipation of the demon flying within range, but instead, it shrunk when the final firebolt hit it for some reason. I then became obsessed with what I have discovered for myself, figuring out a reliable way to shrink enemies from afar. This method also distincts itself as it allows one to shrink human NPCs, which a spell cannot usually target. I tried to do an entire run dedicated to this trick, but quickly gave up on it as the gimmick requires a lot of distance between you and the target to work reliably, and Innos forbid more than one enemy is charging at you while you do it. As I was about to shelf this trick for a random, unrelated minor issue I could solve in a unique manner in a later video, I had a sudden thought. If I can now shrink NPCs, could I shrink myself? Initial tests proved unsuccessful. The method was inadequate for NPCs to use against myself. A breakthrough came with a chance encounter with a post on the Steam community page of all places. Someone else had discovered a similar curiosity with shrinking from afar, but with a larger selection of spells, and most importantly, can be done with a single cast rather than 2, which was the limiting factor of my previous tests. I had to try this new method to see if I can finally shrink myself, and after a lot of trial and error, I have figured it out. And here is what you need to do in order to torture yourself in one of your new runs of Gothic. Step 1. Begin existing. Step 2. Get the scrolls from Torres. Step 3. Get mana and potions. Step 4. Save load to get the monastery key. Step 5. Enter the monastery without magic and take the scrolls from the focus room. Step 6. Transform into a meat bug outside of the Orc lands and crawl for 9 minutes into the Orc temple. Step 7. Realize that because you're playing in borderless window mode to record on a new version of OBS, your gamma settings are fixed so you can't see a damn thing. Step 8. Transform into a wolf, skip the skeletons, and transform in the corner of the gate to skip it. Step 9. Bring down the pillars. Step 10. Get up after receiving a concussion and run away. Step 11. Realize you forgot a bow. Step 12. Assuming you have a bow, open Gorboba's gate. Step 13. Run to the minecrawler nest and take the eggs without dying. Step 14. Somehow make it out while blind and being chased by Templars. Step 15. Open the gate to the final Orc Shaman and the side room with all the potions. Step 16. Grab the potions because they might be useful, but you don't remember which ones they actually are. Step 17. Transform into a meat bug again and slowly crawl past the Orc Shaman. Step 18. Transform behind the final gate before the sleeper. Step 19. Loot all the potions. Step 20. Transform and try your best to run past the Shaman again. Step 21. Return to the first gate, sidestep into it, and transform into a scavenger. Step 22. Run for the love of Innos. Step 23. Leave the Orc Temple with the help of whatever transformation scroll you have left. Step 24. Save load to get the almanac from the goblins. Step 25. Join a camp, enter Chapter 2. Step 26. Duplicate the Minecrawler eggs. Step 27. Enter Chapter 3, buy all the control scrolls. Step 28. Remember to buy a ball lightning scroll. Step 29. Get the shrink scroll. Step 30. Find 4 NPCs, 3 of which already have mana, and all of them need to be relatively close to each other. Right. Where can we find this very specific requirement? So, Bal Kadar can cast magic, 2 of his 3 novices already have mana, and there's another novice left over for inventory manipulation, let's call it. There's also Baltion, who also can cast magic, also has multiple novices, 2 of which have mana. Wonderful! We have a choice. Except we don't, because the Templars that are nearby don't like me casting magic, so will break my concentration by either hitting me or putting me to sleep. I know. Baylor has 2 Weed Pickers and they will have mana. Except, hold up, Baylor doesn't have mana. I know. Shrat is relatively nearby, has mana, and will also follow you to Baylor, so there's no shenanigans to getting him over there. Right. Step 31. Start preparing the area around Baylor for the Shrinkening. Step 32. Use Shrat's chest to let you drop control spells, one by one, without losing any of them. Step 33. Chug some strength potions and exterminate the local wildlife so Shrat doesn't die. Step 34. Bring Shrat over. Step 35. Show dominance over the Weed Pickers and kill Baylor. Now listen closely. Even though you've prepped everything very carefully, there's still a chance of messing everything up because of a silly mistake. You ready? Righty. Step 36. Control Shrat. Step 37. As Shrat, pick up a control scroll and the mana potions. Step 38. As Shrat, drink 2 of the Elixirs of Spirit potions and 1 Extract of Magic potion. Then drop the potions, all while interacting with Baylor's corpse. Step 39. As Shrat, control 1 of the Weed Pickers. Step 40. As the first Weed Picker, repeat steps 37 and 38. Step 41. Control the second Weed Picker. Step 42. As the second Weed Picker, pick up the Ball Lightning and Shrink Scrolls. Step 43. As the second Weed Picker, equip the Ball Lightning Scroll first, then the Shrink Scroll. For the love of Innos, do not equip any other scrolls or runes. Step 44. Cast Ball Lightning at yourself. Step 45. Wait a second. Step 46. Press Enter to end the remaining control effect. Step 47. Enjoy. Now that I am knee-height to everyone, let me tell you a few features of this form. First of all, you can't climb ladders. You also walk tediously slow. Your jogging pace is slower than a normal walking pace. The transformation also reduces your strength, HP, and weapon defenses to 1/10 of what they were beforehand. Any equipped weapons stay equipped even if you suddenly lack the strength requirement for it, but will instantly de-equip if you change any of your other equipment. By taking off your armor that you were wearing beforehand, you can now go into negative armor values. And similarly, if you take off any health increasing jewelry that you had beforehand, you can, in theory, go into negative health values. Thankfully you don't die in the process. The way I believe this all works is that the shrink effect cannot normally affect yourself, but you can sidestep that limitation by technically being someone else. Damaging yourself would break control and put you back in your own body, but by having a buffer of 2 other NPCs, you are technically not in your own body during the entire shrink effect, despite control being broken multiple times. There are also variations to the method that you can do to achieve different heights. I managed to find 3 distinct heights you can achieve in my brief period of playing around with it, that being shoulder height, half height, and knee height. These can be done by switching the Ball Lightning scroll with an Ice Block scroll, or by only using 2 of the 3 NPCs. By breaking the shrink effect early, you don't incite the same stat penalties as shrinking all the way, but your ability to climb ladders and your walking speed are proportionally affected. As a brief diatribe to the glitch that made it all possible, I found that the scrolls that work in general to shrink other NPCs are Ice Block, Ice Wave, Ball Lightning, Fist of Wind, and Storm Fist. Oh, and by the way, the effect is permanent. No amount of quitting out or loading screens can save you now. With all of that out of the way, we can finally get to the main part of the video, me suffering in smallness. For this video, I want to complete the entire game, going through all the main story beats without skipping any of them. And unlike most of my other videos, I shall do so without the assistance of any duplication glitches. Most shocking, I know, in order to really challenge myself this time round. To allow for the shrinking setup at the very beginning of the game, without skipping half of it, I invited a few volunteers, ordered some stuff, and presto! All volunteers died of natural causes, and the stuff used was thrown into the depths of a large pond. I begin the challenge at Chapter 1, with minus 56 HP and perhaps one of the lowest weapon protections possible, without directly editing them via Marvin mode. Having 1 strength is better than none at all, but trying to beat something as small as a meat bug already has some issues. Not to mention the fact I am too weak to equip any weapons, even the humble pickaxe. Safe to say, the first few levels will be acquired with the help of non-combated mission quests, and not all of them either. Upon getting to the old camp, start picking up every quest you can. It won't be very fast leveling up just through these quests, but it's the only option when your damage is, quite literally, 1. I also discover that you can't sleep. The negative health total means you die when your health gets reset. Let me just add that to the list. Okay. The nights are going to be very, very long. And even longer, because for whatever reason, Mordrag won't lead me to the new camp, opting to instead go in circles. Baal Parvez is thankfully still able to perform his duties. In the swamp camp, there are more opportunities for non-combat quests, and also the quest item for Dexter in Colom's... Oh right. Feature number 1. You can't climb ladders. Guess I'll have to come back later. With a couple of level ups, you can get strength from Diego and finally wield the beginner weapons, and engage in glorious combat. It's certainly not trivial by any means, however. You still get one shot by everything, but it's better than nothing, and allows for even more quests to be done. Another feature of this form, combat feels funny. You very often find yourself missing with your melee attacks, and sometimes enemies miss their attacks too, but not often enough to rely on it. Let me just write that down. Should you find yourself in the old mine in this small state, alarm bells should be ringing due to feature number 1. There are ladders everywhere. The first ladder can be avoided by climbing the rocks nearby, but the ladder next to Snipes has little to offer as jumping aids. The platform is too high to jump. The new camp nearby offers more quests, and also some lucrative opportunities to make a bit of ore. Baal Tyon can also give a quest item for another quest for even more to do later. After slowly making my way back to the old camp, I stop by Cavalon's hut and pick up the bow he has in storage, and realize ranged combat solves a lot of the issues that I have with melee, and is probably the way to go forward. I spend the night trying my best to assassinate a shadow in a few attempts, and also take out Mordrag. My next levels go into dexterity to let me use the bows that I have recently looted, and they are very effective, assuming the things I'm shooting shuffle around like confused line dancers. At daybreak, more loose quests can be finished, and exploitatory entry to the castle can be acquired, and a reward from Torres awaits you, after handing over the letter to the mages. I chose the spell scrolls since they might be useful in the near future. Spoiler alert, they were not all that useful. While in the castle, I took the time to kill Bullet for his crossbow. Due to his high health and good armor, it took a lot of getting knocked down and getting back up again, because he can never get me down. And might as well get the permanent strength potions while I'm here, not to duplicate, but to drink right on the spot. A level up and an equipped crossbow later, all the things that I feared to engage before are now easy pickings. I see why the church tried to ban these things back in the day. I thus return to the storage cave of the ruined monastery via save loading to grab the key once more, then try my best to get into the monastery without using any magic. I am somehow still too big to fit through the hole in the wall. Jumping through the gate simply didn't work, and the usual method that I use also doesn't work since I am too small apparently. After half an hour of failed attempts, I conceded and used the transformation scroll to get in, and while transformed, crawled all the way to the focus room to grab the other scrolls, then escaped while save loading. Let me just write down another feature. Basically any normal movement-based exploits won't work. I then had a bright idea. Why not try the Cronin quest to get the transform into Bloodfly scrolls early before Chapter 2? Long story short, after save loading for 5 minutes straight to get to the skeleton mage, I couldn't kill it. Melee couldn't hit it because I was too low down, and my crossbow was too weak to damage it. What a glorious waste of time. The reason for getting the scrolls in the first place was to experiment with how to get back up from Snipes' ladder in the old mine, and I can report, the experiments didn't get me anywhere. What did work, however, was dropping some healing herbs in this precise location to give me the boost I needed in order to reach the platform via jumping. Let me write down another feature of being small. Jumping mechanics now live a life of their own. I then realized that the ladder straight after this, the one just before Ian, is basically a dead end. I had to get out by using Ctrl-Alt-F8, which technically isn't Marvin mode, but it's still a debugging tool. I'll put a pin in this problem for later. Solemn with defeat due to long ladder, I pressed on to see how much was still possible otherwise, starting with the new camp and mission quest to capitalize on the now deviously acquired list from the old mine. After becoming a rogue, I find out for the first time Lares has dialogue about someone killing Mordrag, and appoints you to replace him in his task. I then stock up on bolts for my crossbow, speak to Jeremiah to get Horatio to increase my strength, then get the Olmec on my way to the swamp. First by trying to clear it out, and afterwards by save loading again, because it was easier than dealing with everything in close quarter combat in the cave. I finally enter Chapter 2. And since I am now level 5, I can finally sleep without dying, as my health total is now a grand total of 4. After talking to Iberian, I take the long way round to hunt the creatures along the way, then confront the best voice-acted NPC in all of history, shooting him down before he has a chance to speak his beautiful words. Returning to Iberian, he sends me to Cork Alarm. To get to him, I had to use a transform into meatbug scroll to climb the tree from the side. Kalam demands the plot goes towards the old mine, so I stock up on some newly available speed potions to get a taste of what the old walking speed was like. 1 minute of speed barely got me out of the gate from Balkadar. I am very sad now. I shall reverse this sadness by getting a heavy crossbow from Jackal. While I get it, I want to voice a small gripe I have with crossbows. All guards have a light crossbow. Jackal has a heavy crossbow because he is cool and high-ranking, and Scar has a war crossbow because he is rich and powerful and very cool, if you didn't know. All of this is fine if it wasn't for the fact that there is a fourth crossbow. The simply named crossbow, which falls between the light and heavy crossbows in terms of power. No one uses it. It is nowhere to be found, except for in the trading inventories of 2 NPCs in Chapter 4. In the remake, I want justice to be done to the simple crossbow. Actually, as a practicing war bowman myself, I have a lot of opinions on the subject of archery, but I'll save those for another time. After getting the required dexterity to wield the crossbow and stocking up on various supplies here and there, I talk to Ian about the minecrawler nest, and he sends me to find the gear wheel. Now, the gear wheel is at the bottom of that hole, and the only way to get out is a ladder. I have to get to the gear wheel without going down there. What about telekinesis? Oh, I see. What about telekinesis' cousin? Exploitative telekinesis. By using the telekinesis scroll to highlight the item from far away, you can put away the spell but still maintain the highlight by holding Control while putting away the spell. Then with a simple extra press of forward, you can pick up the item as if it was at your feet. Problem solved. Ian then sends us to Ashgan, who with a bit of support lets you open the gates to the minecrawler nest. The heavy crossbow makes short work of the minecrawlers, and throwing torches helps out of the fact that the cave is dark, and I can't see a damned thing. The crossbow is so good in fact, it does decent damage to the minecrawler queen itself, letting you take her out and take the eggs with ease. After returning to Kalam from the mine, we give him the almanac we casually had from earlier, and with a great invocation, enter Chapter 3. Korangar now drives the plot in the direction of the Orc Cemetery. I take a detour to first become a mercenary, and also grab the Shrink Scroll from the Troll Canyon, as well as the necessary supporting spells for the Shrinking exploit. Taking on the cemetery is done most easily when the orcs inside don't want to attack you, and under the effects of Shrink they try to run away instead. Inside I discover another feature of this form. Sometimes picking up items on inclines is really weird. Let me write that down. The mummies inside make convenient containers to store excess scrolls to easier manage the shrinking exploit. And after shrinking all the orcs in my path, I eventually find Baal Lakor in a skirmish against a lot of incompetent orcs, who let me pass to take on the other side tunnels for the halves of the parchment. Another revelation of the shrunken form. You have more leeway when jumping from heights. You seem to fall faster and can cover more distance before tipping over. Of course, melee is still an interesting question. After clearing out all the side tunnels, Baal Lakor was saved from his fate of eternally battling orc scouts, and eventually led to the chamber with a secret door. The teleportation scroll he gives you can be saved by using a transform into meatbug scroll at the wall and then crawling through the wall. Baal Lakor soon tries to kill you, but was foolish not to take into account the fact that his height would be forfeit if he tried anything rash. Returning from the cemetery, I go into the deeper swamp to collect the healing herbs for Iberian in advance. Korangar asks for and then quickly administers said herbs, but all was too late for Iberian dies, but not before saying where the plot is supposed to take us next. Before performing Iberian's last wishes, a brief detour to the old camp lets you shrink Scar and steal his crossbow, the most powerful ranged weapon in the game. Back on track, the audience with Satyrus is gained, who rewards us for getting the almanac and the focus to him, and sends us to acquire the remaining focus stones. Stop 1. The Ring of Stone. The snappers on the way up are easy pickings for the war crossbow, and rushing in with reckless abandon lets me shrink most of the undead in the crypt with a single wave of ice, accidentally catching Milton in the crossfire. The Guardian itself was also shrunk, and a lot of them were helpless against my blade. Focus of the Ring of Stone acquired, 2 more to go. Stop 2. The Troll Canyon. I tried to be smart and fly up the side of the cliff as a bloodfly, then used telekinesis to grab the focus stone without engaging anything in combat. But that didn't work, so I had to transform into a meat bug, fall through a gap in the rocks, and make use of my short stature to dodge the harpy attacks as I shot them down. Focus of the Troll Canyon acquired, 1 more to go. Stop 3. The Mountain Fort. After shrinking the golem, and still having to use a bludgeoning weapon, despite reducing its defenses to 1/10 of what they were before, Lester was avoided by jumping, harpies in the immediate vicinity were shot down, and with the ability of a bloodfly, flew up to the focus platform and took the focus, avoiding the dreadful ladders. Focus of the Mountain Fort acquired, got them all. Returning to Satyrus, he takes the focus stones, rewards us with more potions from Riordan, and puts us to chapter 4. We now need to convince the Magicians of Fire to join the cause of the Water Mages. But in the meantime, I got some crossbow training from Scorpio, and I'm sorry Diego, did you say that the mine caved in, and now the free mine is under attack? Also, what's a fire mage? Satyrus has a change of plan. We now need to convince a necromancer in a remote tower to join the cause instead. The 3 golems guarding the tower are recommended not to be shrunk haphazardly, because sometimes they disappear into the ground and can't be looted. Otherwise, each of the golems can be felled without issue. With the golem hearts, we can get a teleportation rune, which we can use to avoid any... Oh no. It's okay, we can use the catapult glitch, like back in the day, right? Oh dear. Oh dear. It's alright, let's calm down. There has to be a way to get up there without that ladder. What about getting Shrat over here, then giving him the teleportation rune? Yes, he can make it in and climb the ladder, but Zardas, or any other NPC for that matter, won't acknowledge a controlled NPC in conversation. Acrobatics? I'm too short. Transformations? No. How about pushing Zardas off of his tower to talk to him on the ground? Depending on how your Gothic is feeling that day, Zardas is unfazed or mildly annoyed by any attacks or spells. But what could work is shrinking Zardas and pushing him as a meat bug. During testing, Zardas made a right nuisance of himself by not cooperating very much or doing whatever this is. However, once in a blue moon, it is possible to get him down, which I sadly did off camera because testing took up a lot of footage space. And I'm not doing it again on camera for the following reasons. The shrink spell makes those affected by it run away from you, and trying to snap Zardas out of the fear is a chore, though I managed to do it once. But what really put the nail in the coffin of this idea is that this all has to be done via NPC. So one NPC needs to teleport up the tower, drop the teleportation rune back down the tower, die, not despawn, then a second NPC also has to get up the tower, use the first NPC corpse for equipment manipulation, shrink Zardos, and then push him down to me. The thing is, the first NPC can't drop items due to the lack of nearby corpses, and no, chests don't help. This means that even if the first NPC dies as planned, the second NPC isn't getting up the tower anytime soon. Actually, what about this idea? You can stand on items, so what if I stand on some armor or something, then get someone to Zardos with a telekinesis scroll to magic carpet me over on the moving armor that I'm standing on? The plan falls apart when the armor starts moving horizontally. I simply slide off. Control Alt F8 abuse? Best I can manage is somehow end up in the old camp. Don't ask me why or how. The only thing I know is that spamming Control Alt F8 in this corner specifically warps you to the old camp. Well, if this isn't most bothersome. Though I kind of like the idea of a magic carpet. Maybe with some workshopping I can make it work. While casting telekinesis, you can actually use the left and right keys to move the item around in a radius. You can also stand on the armor that you are telekinesising. That's not a word. Let's call it kinetomancy. So, kinetomancing? Sure, let's roll with it. You can stand on the armor that you are kinetomancing and lift yourself while concentrating on the spell. And if you use the left and right keys, you can move the armor from underneath you. If you happen to be walking, as in having caps lock on, lift yourself and shimmy the armor out from underneath you in a way that it won't touch you again when you let it go. You stay in the air. You can even pick up the armor from beneath you. You can fall to the ground if you stop walking too. Nifty. Let me write down the feature that enables finicky levitation. By the way, I tried this when I was full-sized, and I can confirm you can't lock onto the item with telekinesis if you're standing directly on top of it because you are too big. Anyway, I can make this work. I just need a few things. First, I get another armor set from Lee. Second, I become a water mage and learn a few circles of magic. Third, I buy a rune of telekinesis. So, here is how you can overcome the ladder. Get behind one of the ladder poles and drop one of the mercenary armors. Step on it and levitate yourself so you stay in the air. Pick up the armor again. Drop another mercenary armor so that it gets stuck in the wall, and so that you end up standing on it. Perform another lift, making sure to quickly shift the armor out of the wall. Also pick it up if you can. Now, drop a mage's robe so it gets stuck in the wall and you can walk on it. Shift over and try to get another mercenary armor stuck in the ladder pole that was behind you. Jump on it and lift yourself with it. Then, jump up to the ledge. This method is actually how you can circumvent Ian's ladder in the old mine. You can lift yourself to the top of the storage hut, then use the rogue's armors to create a sort of staircase to use as a bloodfly. I'll admit I found out about this after completing this run. I really didn't want to start again after getting so far. Anyway, we can finally talk to Zardos, who sends us to talk to an exiled orc shaman who happens to be under attack. One thing leads to another, and I suddenly need to liberate the free mine to talk to the orc down there who can make an ulu mulu for me. On your way there, you will encounter Gorn, who will mention Wolf wants to see you, who sends you back to the mine to collect armor plates of Minecrawler warriors, so he can make you a very good set of armor. On my way to the mine, I am blessed with a miracle. I froze when using the crossbow, meaning the razor I was shooting bites me, in fact killing me. But Gorn killed it right after, leveling me up and sparing my life. Thank you, Gorn. You redeemed yourself for all the pain you cause everyone while in the mine. The guards at the gate can be shot down with ease as long as you shoot the one with the crossbow first. Jackal doesn't have a weapon anymore, so isn't a problem. In the mine you can take a shortcut straight to Tarok the Orc, which has all the mine crawlers needed for Wolf to be able to make the armor. The route requires you to climb into and then out of a hole. Going down is easy, getting back out can be done with kinetomancing a magic carpet up every step. After finding the orc medicine in advance, he expresses his thanks, sending us on a fetch quest to gather the other items for the Ulu Mulu. Getting out of the mine can be done with a magic carpet trick again, and jumping to safety. First trophy, the troll tusks. A troll appears near the old mine and can be shrunk from afar with a ball lightning scroll, then dispatched easily. Second trophy, a horn of a shadow beast. A shadow beast appears in the tunnels near the old mine, and can be dealt with just like the troll. Third trophy, Teeth of a Swamp Shark. They can be easily shot down with a war crossbow. Fourth trophy, a Tongue of a Fire Lizard. Can also be shot down as well. After giving the mine crawl plate to Wolf, you can hand over the trophies for a shiny new Ulumulu, putting us neatly into Chapter 5. Checking back in on Wolf, he gives a new set of minecrawl armor, which makes the very low defense I started with feel a little less sad. I also invest in more ammunition, scrolls, and a Death to Undead rune before setting out for the Temple of the Sleeper. You can avoid most inconveniences by transforming into a bloodfly, flying into town, and getting yourself through a hole at the top of the gate. Inside, my first adversaries turns out to be stairs. Too tall to walk over normally, and jumping a little height is out of the question, because jumping mechanics have a life of their own. So what I have to do is drop a set of armor and use it as a stepladder to climb the stairs. Once properly inside, I can finally clear it normally. After so many challenges, I can just blast the undead away with Death to Undead. It feels liberating. To save your time and my post-production workload, the next section of the temple was completed normally, except for the shamans. I used a trick to get one scroll into my inventory at a time to shrink the shaman. And I had to use the magic carpet trick to get myself anywhere. You would have to perform a high jump. Yup, that's it. Aside from getting the strange sword at the 4th shaman and getting out of the temple, I just got rid of the next hour of footage. It's not that interesting seeing the same thing 4 times, I think. Anyway, I return to Zardus' tower, briefly struggle up a ladder, and report in. Zardus tells you to get an ancient set of ore armor from his sunken tower to protect me better in the coming trials of the temple. There is a small problem, however. Due to being small, you don't swim fast, so you drown before reaching the cave. This can be remedied, however, with a transform into lurker scroll. Not only do they swim fast, they can't drown. The undead inside are no match for the Death to Undead spell. Soon, the armor is found, making the weapon defenses peak slightly into positive numbers once again in one instance. Back to Zardus, he completed the magic formula to recharge Ritziel, and we can recruit a still tiny-sized Milton to aid in the recharging of a powerful weapon, putting us into Chapter 6. Using the Orc teleport scroll saved from the Orc cemetery teleports you right behind the gates of the temple, avoiding even more inconveniences than last time. All that's left of the temple is to defeat the last shaman and pierce the hearts. The gates can be bypassed with a meatbug scroll, but not before taking care of any Templars just on the other side. The last and most powerful shaman falls like the first, second, third, and fourth before him, shrunk, and then smacked. The next 2 Templars can both be caught in a single ice wave shrink, allowing an uninterrupted opening of the gate. The finale at this point is mostly a formality, so I have a bit of fun and lay out various singles of various scrolls for a semi-speedy exploit reload, and shrink to my heart's content. The final last end of it all is much like the rest of my videos. Speed potion and then stab the heart in quick succession. Only difference is that after each stab, I ice wave shrink the demon that spawns behind me. And that's that. Relatively anticlimactic as usual. This challenge was surely something. Don't know if I'll be able to do anything better in Gothic 1 if I'm honest. If you have ideas for Gothic 1 runs which you think will be interesting, please do tell. I'm out of ideas. It might be time to move on to Gothic 2. Mostly uncharted territory for me in terms of doing things outside of the norm. But I started in Gothic 1 not knowing anything. I should be able to adapt to the second game. But that's all from me for now. See you next year perhaps. Make sure to eat well and sleep good in the meantime.